Welcome to physics online session. In this today's class, we will discuss the last topic of this chapter, dual nature of radiation and matter. Okay, that is Davison and Germer's electron diffraction experiment, which verifies the wave nature of matter. Okay, so matter actually has a particle nature, but this experiment verifies the wave nature of matter. So it concludes the dual nature of matter also. In the previous classes, we have discussed the dual nature of radiation. So it behaves like a wave and particle. Okay, from the experiments of interference and diffraction, we can say that light behaves like a wave, and from the experiments of photoelectric effect and Compton effect, we can say that light behaves like a particle. So that those concept verifies the dual nature of radiation. Here Davison and Germer experiment verifies the wave nature of matter. Okay, so from this experiment we can conclude that matter can also have two types of nature, wave nature, particle nature and wave nature. Okay, so before going to discuss this Davison and Germer's experiment, once again we have to recall what we have learned in the previous class, that is de Broglie's hypothesis. De Broglie's hypothesis. Okay, so according to de Broglie's hypothesis, when a material particle in motion, any particle in motion associated with a wave called matter wave or de Broglie wave, and the wavelength of de Broglie wave is given by lambda is equals to h by p and r h by mv, where p is the momentum, so equals to p equals to mv, and another expression is h by under root of 2 m ke. Okay, so and another expression is when a charge is accelerated through a potential difference v, then the corresponding de Broglie wavelength of that charge particle is given by h by under root of 2 m qv. Okay, if an electron is accelerated through a potential difference of v volts, then its uh, wavelength, de Broglie wavelength, is given by 12.27 by under root of v. These are the different expressions of de Broglie wavelength. Okay, so, and different parameters. Okay, right. So what is the de Broglie's hypothesis? Any particle in motion associated with the wave, that is called de Broglie wave or matter wave. Okay, so so even though the macroscopic objects like a bus, a car, any marker, any bullet is moving with some speed, will have a wave nature associated with it, uh, but when you compare the size of the when you compare the wavelength of those macroscopic objects with the wavelength of the matter wave associated with it, so the wavelength is very small. It is negligible. The wavelength of matter wave associated with macroscopic objects like bullet is small in comparison with the size of those objects. So in those cases, for macroscopic object, the wave nature is negligible. We have to consider only the particle nature. Okay, but for microscopic objects like particles like electrons, protons and neutrons, their size is extremely small, so the de Broglie wavelength associated with them is extremely large compared to the size. So they have wave natures. Okay, so we have to consider wave nature. Okay, wave nature is the particle, means we have to consider only particle wave nature. Okay, so right, and this in this class we will discuss uh, an experiment which verifies the wave nature of matter, that is called Davison and Germer's experiment. Okay, so this is the experiment which verifies the wave nature of matter, and this is experimental setup. Okay, So it mainly consists of an electron gun. This is called electron gun. This experimental setup mainly consists of electron gun which emits electrons. So this electron gun mainly consists of a filament F. This is a filament F which is coated with a barium oxide. Barium oxide, okay, and it is heated, and this filament is heated by means of a low thermal battery so that it emits electrons. It emit electrons. Okay, and these electrons are uh, accelerated. So these electrons are accelerated and their speed increases. So electrons are accelerated by means of high thermal battery. HT nothing but high thermal battery. We are providing two batteries. One is used to emit electrons from the filament and other is accelerating the electrons already emitted from the filament. Now these emitted electrons are allowed to pass through cylinder which has fine holes. Okay, so that we'll get a narrow beam of electrons. So that we'll get narrow beam of electrons. Now this narrow beam of electron is allowed to incident on a nickel target. This is a nickel target. Okay, so nickel is a crystal which consists of regular and periodic arrangement of atoms, and now this electron beam is scattered from the atoms of the nickel target in different directions, and these electrons are scattered in different directions. So one of the direction is represented in the figure with the blue dotted lines, but actually electrons were scattered in a different directions. Okay, now these scattered electrons, uh, the intensity of these scattered electrons or diffracted electrons are uh, recorded by means of a detector. This is called a detector or movable collector detector, which moves on the circular scale. This is a circular scale. Okay, so and here by moving the detector, uh, right, and this, see once again, so this is a detector and it can be moved on the circular scale and is connected to a galvanometer, so which records current, current. Okay, right. So and here by moving this detector or mobile collector on the circular scale, detector on the circular scale, the intensity of scattered or diffracted electron beam is recorded at a different angles. For different angles we will measure the intensity of electron beam, and we will study the variation in the intensity or current of a scattered electron beam, intensity of scattered electron beam. So with by varying different angles for different diffracting angles or scattering angles for different accelerating potential, for different accelerating potentials. Okay, so actually will vary the potential from 44 volts to 68 volts. Okay, so they varied, the Davisson and Germer varied the potential of this battery, high thermal battery, from 44 volts to 68 volts. Okay, now at 45 volts, when you first initially by keeping the voltage of the high thermal battery at 44 volts, and they are accelerated at 44 volts, and they are scattered in a different direction, and the intensity of scattered electron beam is measured at a different scattering angles. Okay, and and they studied that the intensity of the scattering beam is maximum. uh, they found, actually these two found a sudden bump or maximum peak in the intensity of the scattering beam at a scattering angle of 50 degrees. At a scattering angle, this is the scattering angle between the incident beam. This is called the incident beam, which is allowed to incident on a nickel target, and this is the scattered beam. Okay, this is the angle between them is called scattering angle. Okay, so we are measuring the intensity of this diffracted electron beam by means of a galvanometer. So it is found that initially it increases linearly, but at a particular angle of 50 degrees, so there is a sudden peak, a strong peak in the intensity at a scattering angle of 50. And when you kept the high thermal battery at 54 volts, okay, when you are keeping this high thermal battery at 54 volts, so they kept means I nothing but Davision and Germer, when they kept the high thermal battery at 54 volts and at an angle, scattering angle of 50 degrees, they got a maximum peak in the intensity, so which tells the uh, wave nature. So it happens only when two electrons occupy the same place. With a particle nature, no two electrons can occupy the same position, but with the wave nature, when they have a wave nature, the two electrons can occupy the same position. So when they interfere, so two waves can occupy. With a wave nature, this will happen. So that is why the bump is maximum. So there are group of electrons, so occupying the same position, that is why intensity of electron beam is maximum. So the maximum or strong peak in the intensity of this electron beam, scattered electron beam, so confirms the interference of electrons, which confirms the wave nature. Okay, so which confirms the wave nature. Okay, right. Okay, and this total aperture enclosed in a evacuated chamber so that no other particle affects the scattering of these electron beams. Okay, now uh, so according to Davision, sorry, according to Davison's and Germer's electron diffraction experiment, the wavelength of matter waves is obtained as lambda is equals to 0.165 nanometers. This is the experimental value. This is the experimental value of matter waves associated with electron. Okay, but according to de Broglie, but according to de Broglie, okay, so the wavelength of matter wave, the wavelength of matter wave is given by an expression lambda is equals to matter wave, the wavelength of matter wave associated with electron is given by, already we have discussed it in the start introduction of this topic, 12.27 angstroms by under root of V, where V is the potential difference applied. We got the maximum bump at an voltage of 54 volts. Already I told the topic 54 volts. So by calculating this, by simplifying this expression, we'll get the wavelength as actually we'll get it as 0. Sorry, I want to, this is cancelled, 0.167 nanometers. Okay, 0.167. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I'll change it. Okay, I'll erase it so that there will be no confusion. Okay, 1 minute. Right. So this is the experiment. Okay, so the experimental value is well in agreement with the theoretical value. So this Division and Germer's electron diffraction experiment confirms the wave nature. Confirms the wave nature of matter. Okay, so right. And what is the application of this concept? So wave nature of matter, wave nature of matter is used to design electron microscope. Okay, so modern microscopes, all the modern microscopes are using the wave nature of matter. So modern day optical microscopes are using this matter waves uh, concept, okay, to very small objects. Okay, this is about the dual nature of matter and radiation. So thank you, we'll meet in the next chapter, atoms. Okay.